Hi everybody, Cynthia here. I am back with Jingle, Jangle in July Christmas series, and today I'm going to show you guys how to make this cute little snowman tree ornament from using a wine cork. Okay, so the first thing we're going to work on are the trees so that they have time to dry. And I got this 3 set of trees from Amazon. No store in particular, just somewhere on Amazon, and I decided to use the middle-sized one. Now if you don't have a die and you want to know about what size I cut my trees at, it's 3 inches. So 3 inches high, and the widest part is about 2 1/4 or 2 1/8. Okay, so that's the size of my die. I'll set that aside. And what I did was I cut out 2 different colors, a darker green and a lighter green. And I'm going to be laying the darker green kind of off center because they're the same size. So I'm just going to come down a little bit and over and glue it on so that you see the lighter green on each side of this one. Just using a little bit of liquid glue. Okay, so I just go down a little and then kind of center it, a little off-centered actually. Okay, so now they're glued together, and I'm going to lay it down. And we're going to glitter it. The glitter that I'm using is just this crystal glitter here. I've had that in my stash for quite a while. And all I'm going to do is draw some lines on my tree with my glue. Just kind of staggering them and making swirlies. Doesn't have to be perfect. Whoop! Okay, we're going to have to use the other side of that cardstock. Okay, try that again. Finish it up here. Alright, and then just sprinkled the glitter on, and I got a lot on here. And then to make sure it was sealed down, I just pressed the glitter into it. And pick it up and kind of knock it off there a little. Okay, so that's the glitter part. And then what you're going to do is get out your Mod Podge. Well, actually, you're going to let it dry. You want to let that glitter dry on there completely before you Mod Podge it. So this is what it looks like before it's dry. And you can see it looks pretty white there. And then this is what it looks like once it is dry. So you can definitely tell the difference. Okay, so once it's dry, this one I'm going to set aside. This one's already dry. Just going to get your paintbrush and some Mod Podge. And you're going to Mod Podge the whole thing front and back. And then we're going to set it aside and let it dry. And this just helps to strengthen the paper so that this lasts a long time, because it is going to be a keepsake Christmas ornament. You're going to want it around for a long time. You don't want the paper to tear. So if you Mod Podge it, it really strengthens it so you can't get a tear in it. Well, you could tear it, I'm sure, but... Okay, so I'm just going to Mod Podge the front and then let that dry a little, and I'll Mod Podge the back later. But it should end up looking something like this. Now this green's a little bit different than the one that I glued, but it's all Mod Podged front and back and ready to go. So we're going to use that one for the video purpose and set this one aside to dry. Close this back up. Okay. So the next part that we're going to work on is putting the body of the snowman together. So this wine cork here is what I used. As you can see, it's kind of narrow here and it comes out kind of like a cute little snowman body. I purchased these wine corks in like a netting bag from Joann's quite a while ago. I've had them in my stash for a long time. And I also have like a ton of these types. This is just the straight. You can see the difference. And this one's kind of like at an angle, a little fatter on the bottom than the top. You could use these if you want, if this is what you have, but I like this better for the snowman body. So self-explanatory, you're going to give it a couple coats of white paint and let that dry. And then I took a regular cork for the head part here. And as you can see, it measures about a 1/2 inch. You can measure, you know, you can make yours as big as you want, but I would say a 1/2 inch is pretty good. So all I did there was I took, and please be careful if you do this, you don't want to cut your fingers, but I'm going to go down about a 1/2 inch into the cork, and I have my X-Acto knife, and I'm just going to slice right into it, okay, until you slice off about a 1/2 inch. So this cork we no longer need. You can use that for more heads if you want it to. And let me put this back on, and like I said, if you're going to cut with these, please be very careful. Okay, so we have the body, it's painted white, and we have the headpiece here. I showed you how I cut mine. I've already painted this one white. So when I go to put it together, I took the headpiece here, and I took one of my long straight pins. You can make the beaded pins out of these. I'm just going to stick it in the center here and push down. Okay, just like that. Then I'm going to turn it around, grab it on both sides. My fingers are nowhere near the top. And I'm just going to press down and pop that pin through. Okay. And then what I did was I added hot glue to this part of the pin. You could probably use a nail too, but I think a pin will do just fine. Just make sure it's a really good sturdy pin. And then I'm going to stick it into the other cork. And then before I adhere it all the way down, I'm going to put some extra hot glue on the cork and then press it down. When you do this, you want to make sure your head is centered nicely and it's not off center or wonky. Okay, we're going to let that dry. Make sure when you push the pin in, you do not go past this point. If you do, you have to cut that off because you don't want a point sticking out. And then this part here, I just took my cutter and I cut it right off. Okay, so I'll save this for something else later. I'm going to put it in my pin cushion. And I got as far as I could on the top part, as close as I could to the actual base of the pin. So that's how I created my body. Okay. And then I have myself a white bottle cap here. I got these bottle caps in a bag, actually. They came in a set like this. And I purchased these at Hobby Lobby. I'm going to take a bunch of hot glue to the bottom of the cork base. And yes, I am using a lot of hot glue. Doesn't matter if it squishes out the sides, and I'm going to center it in that bottle cap and press down really hard. And you're going to see some hot glue ooze out, but that's okay, because you're not going to see this top of this bottle cap when we finish putting the snow on. Okay, so we have our body, our head, and the base here. Next thing we want to do is draw on our face. So I took a black fine tip Sharpie pen, and for the eyes I basically did like a sideways S pattern. So I just started at the top, swoop down, back up like a mountain, and back down just like an S. I'll try that again, get it really close. Okay, so you're going to do a backwards S. You're going to come down, swoop up like a mountain, and back down. And that's how I did the eyes. And then I added just 2 eyelashes where that other little S is, and I'm going to add 2 more over here. Okay, so our eyes are complete. And now I'm going to work on the nose. I'm using an orange thin fine tipped Sharpie. And for the nose, I kind of started that over here. You see this line here of this eye on the left. So I'm going to draw down a line and just create a little carrot nose. Swoop over. Let me get my other orange Sharpie, because I think my other one that I used was a little bit darker, and this is kind of like a fluorescent orange. So I'm going to do that again. You draw a line straight down and just kind of swoop it over. It's like a little carrot. And then I just took the time to color it in. Okay, so that's our little nose. Hang on a second, guys. My cat's begging me to get out of the bedroom. Or out of the craft room. Here. Go on. Get going. Okay, sorry about that. But I figured he would just keep meowing the entire time. And then for the mouth, all I did was just draw little circle dots. And about 6 of them. Now I'll probably go back and color in that nose a little bit more, because I just think it's a little too light. There we go. Sometimes it needs a second coat there. Okay, so now the face is done. Let that dry before you put your finger on it and smudge it or anything like that. Okay, so that's the body. Now we're going to work on the snow here. You can see I built it up all around here, and then there's snowballs over here. Oop, I got this stuck there. And what I used was the Deco Art Snow Tex. And then I cut, this is a regular popsicle stick, and I just kind of cut it a little narrow. And you want to mix it up really well. Okay, and then all you're going to do is just add it to the base of that bottle cap. Now this snow text takes a while to dry. This is going to take a good few hours until you can work on this again, because you really want to let it cure and dry. Okay, and I kind of built it up. And you just want to keep doing that all the way around. Set it on the bottle cap and build it up as high as you prefer. Just kind of smush it around. So you see I'm touching the base of the actual wine cork, touching it to that base, and then I'm kind of smoothing it down over the bottle cap. Get a little bit more here. We're almost done. My friend Misha at Scraps and Things wanted to try these for our Christmas in July swap. And honestly, if she would have never suggested it, I would have never made one of these. I was like, all right, I'll try, you know, a snowman somehow from a wine cork. And I looked a bunch up online. There's all different styles. But I just wanted to add to it. I didn't want it to just be the wine cork itself. And that's when I came up with the idea for the trees. You don't want to go past this rim here. You want that to just stay the way it is. And just build it up here and there. But anyway, and then I thought, well, I don't have a snowman hat. How am I going to do that? And, you know, seriously, if you don't have any of the materials that I'm using, just sit there and look at it and think, well, what do I have? What could I use? And try out different things. And you will surprise yourself with the kind of things you can come up with. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with the base of the wine cork there in the snow. And like I said, you're going to have to let this dry for quite a few hours. I'm just going to wipe this off because I'm going to use it again later. So before you can really work on it, you know, putting the snowballs on and things like that, you're going to want to let that dry. Then once it's dry, you want to add a coat of Mod Podge to the whole thing. The snow on the bottom. You don't need to Mod Podge the bottle cap, but just the snow on the bottom and the wine corks itself, once that's complete. Okay? Now, you can add your hat before you do that, though. So I'll show you how to make the hat. And all I did was... You're gonna laugh, but I had these little wooden pots that you can get in bags at Hobby Lobby. And like I said, I was staring at stuff thinking, well, how the heck am I gonna make the hat? And I saw that there was already a hole in the bottom of these. And they come in little bags. You can find them where they sell all the bags of wood in the wood section. And then I stuck it on here and I thought, well, that looks silly because there's no base to the hat. So I cut out 3, this is cardstock. So I took my 1-inch circle punch and I cut out 3 pieces of black cardstock, and then I glued all 3 pieces together, because I wanted to make a nice thick piece for the rim of the hat. And then I also took it one step further because I had said to you guys I really want it to last. Let me get my bone folder here because I did really press it together nice and hard. Really press down. Okay. That makes it nice and thick, but I really wanted it to last, so I went ahead and I put another coat of Mod Podge on the front and the back, and then all the way around the rim. So it goes from this to this. It kind of gives it a nice little shine, and it's nice and sturdy, so it won't bend. It'll hold up for you. Then I took my pot and I painted it black, inside and out. I don't know why I did the inside, but I did. Oh, no, I didn't. I just did the rim down here, and make sure you get a little bit in that hole. And then I also gave this a coat of Mod Podge. And then I found this really super thin twine in my stash. And I cut about 6.5 inches. And all I'm going to do is make a knot here at the bottom, and because it was so thin I tried to knot it twice. and I'm knotting it like as close to the bottom as I can. And I'm going to tie a second one and get that all the way at the bottom so you have a nice sized hanger here at the top to hang on your branch. So you have your knot down here, and I took a pair of tweezers and I went in the inside and I shoved it right through that hole, and that's going to create your hanger for your ornament. Sorry if you hear my cat. I let him out and he wants back in. He does that stuff to me all the time. Okay, so then I took liquid glue. I didn't use hot glue this time. Took some liquid glue around the base of that pot. And you're going to want to center it as best you can to create your hat. So that looks pretty good there. I'm going to set it down, I'm going to press it, and I'm going to hold it there a minute. Now this glue dries clear, but if you have any excess, you may want to wipe that off. And then I have a little piece of red and white twine here that I'm going to put around the rim of the hat. And for this part I did use hot glue. And I'm going to push it in with my tweezer because I don't want to burn myself. Get a little more hot glue on there. Don't think I did very well on that. You guys can use any glue you want. Just if you use hot glue, be careful. I'm always burning myself. Okay, and then you're just going to wrap it around that base of the pot and come back around and glue it down. Okay, and I see I have all kinds of little strings sticking out. So I'm just going to make sure I have enough glue on there to glue those down. Okay, so that's the twine on the hat, and then I went ahead and I stamped out this holly berry leaf from a random stamp I had in my stash, and I colored it up. And you're going to want to Mod Podge this as well because you want everything to last. And then I put a little bit of hot glue on this. At the bottom in the berry there, and I added that right over where we glued the strings. So if you look, when you go around the hat, you don't see where we started and stopped with the twine because the berries up here hide that. And then all you're gonna do, and I kind of offset this when I put it on, I didn't put it straight on, so I added some hot glue there. Oh, see? I touched my... I can fix that in a second. And you want to press down. Now, the reason why I used hot glue and not liquid glue is because I didn't Mod Podge this yet. If you Mod Podge your snowman, you might want to use a different glue besides hot glue for the hat, because the hot glue for some reason tends to not stick to the Mod Podge as well, for me anyway. Okay, and then once that's done, you want to let everything really dry, including, and then you Mod Podge it, and you should have something that looks like this. It's all Mod Podged up. including the snow. And what we're going to do is we're going to add our scarf. So I have a piece of gingham red and white ribbon, and I cut it at about a 5-inch piece. You can cut smaller or larger, depends on what you want to do. But over here I have the Let It Snow sign that I stamped out, backed it up with black cardstock, and I also Mod Podged this as well, so it's nice and sturdy. So we're going to want to put our scarf on here so that it doesn't interfere with the sign on the front. Okay, so I think I'm actually going to put my Let It Snow sign on first. And I just took this and kind of centered it in the front here. I'm not using hot glue, I'm using liquid glue. I'm just going to kind of angle it and hold it there. And I'll show you why I did the sign first, because it's a lot easier to get the scarf around the sign, and then you can glue the scarf here to the back of the sign, and it holds up really well. Okay, hopefully that's somewhat dry. So I'm going to take my scarf, and I want a piece that's going to go behind the sign here and wrap around. So I'm just going to add a dab of glue to the back of the sign and glue down my scarf. Okay, so you'll have a piece hanging. That's okay. I'm going to put hot glue at the base here. You don't want to pull it too hard. You just kind of want to wrap it gently around and glue that down. If you pull too hard, what will happen, and I'll show you back here, if you pull too hard, it'll go right into the, it'll be glued at the bottom of the head. So when you do it, you just want to do it real gently around this base here. Don't wrap too tight around the head, or it won't look right. So put more hot glue at this base and continue to wrap it around. And then I'm going to come down and come right over here in the front, kind of crisscross it in front of the sign. So I'll put a little blob of glue on that scarf there. And press it down. Okay, so that's how I put the scarf on. And I'm just gonna cut the ribbon. Kind of trim it up a little bit. And I'm gonna put a little bit of glue on the back of the ribbon here, so I can guide it past my sign so you could see the Let It Snow sentiment. Okay, so now we have left is the snowballs, this little tiny candy cane, and then we'll put our tree on. So the snowballs are mini snowballs. Where did I stick those? And I got these in a big pack, actually, I think at Michael's. They had the really teeny tiny ones. And this you can use hot glue for. Apparently I got that snow text all over here. Okay. So all I'm going to do is on the side, I'm going to build up my snowballs. So I'm just going to put a tiny dab of hot glue and just start gluing them on and building up a little snowball pile. Put one next to that. And I'm going to put a third one up. Probably up here on the top, so it looks like a little triangle. Before I build up any more snowballs, I'm going to take one of these little candy canes. And these came in a pack. You can get these at Michael's, and I've also seen them at Hobby Lobby. But these actually came from my mom. So I'm going to put some hot glue on the stem here, and then hot glue on the bottom. You really want to be careful with your hot glue, everyone. You don't want to put it on that it's going to be noticeable. Nobody wants to buy a Christmas ornament with hot glue smashed all over it. So if you can see here, I have a blob of hot glue. Before it really completely dries, I just take my tweezer and pull that off. And that way, I pulled too much, sorry. You want to pull off your excess because you don't want your blobs of glue showing, and that's kind of why I put the snowballs here, so I can kind of glue the candy cane to the base of the snowballs. And then you'll see I have all this excess hot glue. I'm just going to peel that right off and make sure my candy cane's pressed down real nice and you don't see any blobs of hot glue. Okay, and just pull that off. And we're going to continue to build our snowballs out. You can put as many as you like on here, but I'm going to put one at the base there where the candy cane is. Just makes it a little extra secure. And I'm also going to put some out on the actual snow text and build them out. Okay, I'll probably build more than that later, but you kind of get the gist of it. It's all personal preference how many snowballs you wanna put there. Totally and completely up to you. So we have our candy cane on, we have our snowballs, everything is complete. All we need to do is add the tree to the back base here. And as you can see, this tree here that's still drying, there's a little trunk here, and then here what I did was I just trimmed it. I trimmed that trunk off in the bottom there because I didn't want it to get in the way. I wanted a flat base for the tree. So I did the same thing here. And because I'm doing Mod Podge to something that's Mod Podged already, I used liquid glue. So I'm going to add liquid glue to the base here. You can use that E6000 glue too. I'm sure that would work really well. And I'm just going to put my tree right on top of that snow text. See how the bottom is laying on top of the snow text. I'm going to turn it around and make sure it's centered nicely. And I'm just going to hold it there with my fingers. And you need to hold it for a little while. You really want that glue to be nice and dry before you pull it away. It's not even glued up top here, as you can see. It's not glued. Because I really thought it wasn't necessary, and you could probably see the glue. All the glue is down here at the base of this tree. So I'm just holding it and really waiting for it to dry. And then once you let go and you see that it's dry, you're going to want to let it dry fully and completely before you know, you really mess around with it anymore. See, I was messing around with it. It came loose. I really need to hold it there for a second. I tried the hot glue and you could just pull the tree right off. So I decided to use this and give this a try. This little guy's still drying. I'm going to set him down. But as you can see, and I'm pulling really hard on this tree and it's not coming off. So it was nice and secure. Oh, and the glue that I'm using is the art glitter glue. I use it all the time for everything. And it dries acid free. It's a permanent water-based glue. You can get these online, Amazon, eBay, and you can actually go to the Art Glitter Glue website, www.artglitterglue.com. I don't get anything for telling you guys this. This is just the glue I use if you're interested. I'm not affiliated with them in any way. Okay, so that's how our little guys turned out, and this guy still has to dry. The tree still has to dry completely, and then later on, like I said, I'll Mod Podge him and work on him. But that's how I made it, guys. So I hope you enjoy making yours. If you do, I'd love to, and you do a video, I'd love to see yours and how you do it. You don't have to do it exactly like this, but it just gives you an idea on how to put these together. And if you have any questions, let me know. Thanks so much for watching. Take care and happy crafting.